If you, on the black culture side, want your culture to rise, you want to see it thrive, you want to see it move, you want to see people embrace it. Okay. Part of embracing another person's culture is making it available to them. Sometimes that means the music, dancing to it, singing it. Sometimes that be the food, learning how to cook it. And sometimes that be the outfit, learning how to dress. And sometimes it's the hairstyle. As both cultures have to stop acting as though culture is something that you can steal. Culture. Everybody thinks they have one, and some people think they have none. But on the off chance that you don't have one to own for yourself, I have a couple of questions for you. If you did have a culture that you would be gravitating to, and I'm meaning culture, of course, based on how you look, because apparently that's what makes culture now. So if you are looking for a culture, I have a couple of questions for you to see if you may place yourself somewhere. And I'm going somewhere with this, so please just take your time. We're going to sit back for a little bit and walk through this with me, if you don't mind. I have been told that certain individuals cannot and do not have a culture. While I may not agree with this statement, we're going to run this down the rabbit hole for a little bit and see exactly if it has any merit. I'm not going to name names as to who might say that this particular type of people don't have a culture, but there is a group of people out there that claim, and I'm going to say, let me back up a little more. Put my disclaimer out there. We at Too Strong do not, and I repeat, do not have a stake in anything to do with the value placed on race. Okay? I want to make sure that people understand that. We may look a certain way, but this is not who we are. It might be what we are, but it ain't who. So I want to go down this path now with you with that in your head. This is not about whether or not we feel we're inferior or superior or someone else feels the same way. Okay, good. Now we shall proceed. I have been told that this particular race of people do not possess culture. And if they do, it's because they usurped it from someone else. Now we're talking about this based on some things that have become quite problematic on social media. To witness, I mean. It's not problematic in its effect, it's just problematic in its view. The idea that braids, specifically box braids, belongs to only one particular culture. And when you put certain things in front of some people, they start to get irate that certain individuals of this particular group is using, being put into their head, and is somehow usurping the idea that box braids is theirs. I want to run this down the pike for you in case you feel that you don't fit into any group. This might be you, because it's us. We don't have a culture. We have a life that we live with our families, and that, if you want to call it, is our culture. Anything else, doesn't really care. We don't really care about that. So I want to, though, for those of you that it does matter to, ask you a few questions. If, and this is, and again, I am going to tackle the idea of race. So don't jump the gun and don't think that I'm saying something against one or for the other. These are simply questions. And if you can't answer simply questions, then this might not be the podcast for you, but this is about questions, okay? If you, on the black culture side, want your culture to rise, you want to see it thrive, you want to see it move, you want to see people embrace it, okay? Part of embracing another person's culture is making it available to them. If I want my thing to be seen and heard around the world, they have to be able to, one, either participate, or two, understand it. The best way to understand is to participate in it. Sometimes that means the music, dancing to it, singing it. Sometimes that be the food, learning how to cook it. And sometimes that be the outfit, learning how to dress. And sometimes it's the hairstyle. But this is part of culture, is sharing it. And the reason people share it is so that other people can appreciate it. They can't really take your culture because it's not something that's tangibly stealable. That makes sense. So you have to either be able to share it with them by saying, hey, it's okay if you wear that dress or do that hairstyle, because you know what? We see it as a term of you saying, we appreciate, man, that is so cool. I wish I could do it too. The problem is that there are some people that do not like the idea that people may appreciate their culture, which is beyond me. I don't exactly know how that can cross someone's mind when you see someone so enamored with your stuff It's like people sharing Two Strong's content, and then we get mad because they're sharing our content, even though they're saying we're cool people. Like, don't you call us cool? We'll do our own thing. It kind of doesn't make any sense. In fact, we would welcome them sharing our stuff. In this case, we have an individual that been trying to make her way in the world of braiding, hair braiding. And yes, she is a black individual. And she had been getting a little bit of flack on a certain individual's hair that she did. And it was on a white individual. Um, and there were people that got upset because that particular person should not have the kind of hairstyle that they had. Again, I'm going back to now we're going to get to the meat of the topic here. If she is making her money, I just want you guys to hear me out, patience. If she's making her money by using white people who you say have no culture, again, this is to the people who believe this, not to everyone, by the people who have no culture, and she is giving them a service and they're paying her for it, meaning that she is getting something for her services, wouldn't that be a good thing? Because her business is now going to thrive. If our effort is to get the black culture to be seen everywhere, heard everywhere, appreciated everywhere, isn't this part of that process? Now, to the other people who think that, well, he's just trying to steal the culture, what if he can't braid? He can't really replicate it. So he got it in his hair. How is he going to spread his wings and say, I'm going to braid hair now, it's my culture? See, he can't do it. There's a skill involved in this. I understand that you may say that there's a history attached to it, that here, this is what we used to do with the hair, but that's not now. That was then. We're talking about now. Are you doing it now? And if you were doing it now, wouldn't you want the message to get out even into the crowds that you say are stealing it? Why? Because they're the ones that would have had your people. So it's a good thing. This is why I'm saying it's a good thing. Because now you have been seen, you have been heard, and you've been paid. The three things most needed by today's culture. What if then there was something that belonged to the flip side? A white thing done by a black thing. And if you want to tell me that there's no white culture, when was the last time you saw any, and I mean any black individual thrive and become top dog in something like ice hockey or bull wrangling? I'm just asking. It might seem funny to you, but it ain't funny to me. I'm not going to wrangle no bull. You might say that's not culture. Well, if it's not culture and you think you can do it, have fun. Me? I'm not built like that. How about surfing? No? Okay, that's another one. So there are things out there that we do not specialize in. Let's just be honest about that. And if that's the case, would you have the same energy for someone going out of their culture, picking up someone else's culture, and taking it? Would that be usurpation or would it be interest? You see, I think what we have to do is stop criminalizing the use of culture. We have to. In fact, what we should do is embrace it. Because the only real way for the black culture to expand is for people to appreciate it. Suppose you got your wish that nobody touched your culture. You know what it would do? Die. Because no one would care what's happening with it. No one would even look at it to say, that's really cool. In fact, they would ignore it because you would get mad that they're even saying it's cool. I think we've gone to the place where, and this is for people to listen to, I think we've gone to a place now where it has become ridiculously hard to communicate with a person of another growing up, another genre, another culture, and make it seem as though we want to share what we've lived. We can't live like that. No one thrives when people live like that. It would be like my wife saying, hey, I cook really well and you don't, but I'm leaving and I'll be back in about 3 weeks. You better not cook any food I have ever cooked. But our kids, I don't care. That's my meal. I'm the one cooking it. You can't cook it. And the kids say, but mom, dad could do it. And we loved it. No, only I can cook that food. You've taught me already, wifey. You've taught me how to cook it. And for some reason, you don't want me using your skill that you've taught me to benefit the people you say you care about. Do you see what I mean? And I think we have to stop. We really do, as both cultures have to stop acting as though culture is something that you can steal. There's no possible way that anyone can remove from your usage your culture. They can't. It's impossible. 1 billion% impossible. Now, if you want to give it away by acting a certain way, that's on you. But you end up tainting the legacy that you could have by using this type of method to keep people from appreciation. This is what you call appreciating your own culture. They really do. Nobody, okay, hear me out. If nobody in their right mind, and I'm meaning this in their right mind, would look at something they hate and put it on themselves. Okay, if I hate black culture, I would try to stay as far away from using any of it as possible. I mean, this is just me. If I really hated it, and I mean really hated it, I would never use it. I would stay away from it. I would avoid it at all costs. I would never let anybody see me even wearing, sniffing, being around, anything to do with it because I don't like it. So maybe rethink things. If they're using it, it could be a sign of appreciation. And if that's the case, applaud them. And in fact, invite them to say, hey, I got some more stuff you might like. All you got to tell people is where you got it from. That's the first thing in sales is you got to make people appreciate your product. And once they appreciate the product and you can show them the benefit of the product and they see the benefit of the product and they experience the benefit of the product, they start to push the product for you. It's organic. You want your culture to thrive? Allow people who don't have that culture to use it. And in the end, I'm promising you this, in the end, you'll end up with one very big positive. You know what that is? The thriving of the culture that you possess.